Tracking Oscar. First tonight on our news weekend, the southern Bahamas clears Hurricane Oscar. The central Bahamas now on alert. Warnings now in effect as the system is expected to hit by Tuesday. Also a massive award. The New York Supreme Court rules in favor of Bahamar's founder after a years-long legal fight with China Construction America. We'll tell you the billion-dollar price tag for damages. And later, our Animal of the Week returns with another young pup ready for a new home. Could it be yours? Our News, the Weekend Edition, starts right now. Welcome to our News, the Weekend Edition. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Berthany McDermott. Tropical Storm Oscar is now at the tip of Cuba, but meteorologists are warning residents in the central Bahamas to prepare as the storm is expected to be back in the Bahamas by Tuesday. Those islands are now under tropical storm watch, which means they could begin to feel conditions within 48 hours. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie joins me now with the latest coordinates. Ian.
Thanks, Berthany, and good evening, Bahamas. We begin with a look at the tropics, where in our very own backyard we still have Hurricane Oscar hanging out there. Now, Hurricane Oscar moves just westward south of Inagua through today. Now it's making its way towards the northern portion of the east coast of Cuba, where it is expected to remain a hurricane, however weaken, then move off the coast of Cuba, the northern eastern coast of Cuba, late Monday night, make its way barreling towards the central Bahamas. The Bahamas Department of Meteorology has now issued a tropical storm watch for the islands of the central Bahamas, which includes Long Island, Exuma, Rum Cay, San Salvador, and Cat Island. So the hurricane warning that was in effect for the southeast Bahamas has been now downgraded to a tropical storm warning. Satellite radar imagery at this time showing Hurricane Oscar barreling towards the eastern portion of Cuba. You can still see some cloudiness, rain bands associated with it spreading across portions of the southeast Bahamas, and that will continue to produce some tropical storm conditions across them through tomorrow. For the northwest Bahamas, small craft should remain in port. Winds will be northeasterly 15 to 25 plus knots. Seas 5 to 8 but up to 10 feet in those northeasterly swells. High tide at 10:56 p.m. tonight. Low tide at 5:02 a.m. tomorrow morning. In the central and southeast Bahamas, where we have those tropical storm watch and warnings in place, we're asking you boaters again to remain in port, swimmers out of the waters as well. Winds northeast 20 to 30 plus gusting to tropical storm force strength. Seas 6 to 9 but up to 15 feet in those northeasterly swells. In your extended forecast, we expect one or two isolated activity across us tomorrow into Tuesday. Most of the week looks pretty good. We have a few showers around Friday, Sunday. Those highs only getting up into the mid-80s, which are lows into the mid-70s. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Stay safe and enjoy your week, everyone.
Thanks, Ian. Well, residents in the southern Bahamas have weathered Hurricane Oscar as it moves toward Cuba. Despite the storm's path shifting, many still aren't taking the threat lightly. Inagua bore the brunt of the Category 1 storm, with Chief Counselor Kenneth Roll telling our news just after 1 p.m. that though there was limited time to prepare, they managed to open a shelter housing 24 people. He says so far, only minimal damage has been reported.
The rattling of Hurricane Oscar around 5 a.m. with its high, strong winds and rain. A full assessment of the community has not been done as yet. We are still experiencing heavy showers, I'm guessing the tail end of the storm. But I've been made to understand that there are some roof damages, a few lines are down, and lots of debris throughout the streets.
Hurricane Oscar quickly intensified into a Category 1 storm in just 24 hours. In Inagua, sources reported a few broken pole insulators, while in Mayaguana, 5 blown electrical fuses have already been replaced and power restored. Over on Acklins and Crooked Islands, officials say shelters are being opened, residents are gearing up, and government buildings have been secured.
Residents are taking the necessary precautions such as boarding up their homes, securing food items. They're making sure that their vehicles have fuel in case of flooding and you cannot get to the fuel station. Also, the shelters are being activated for persons who need to move in the event of flooding.
Well, in an emergency briefing led by Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper Saturday, Met officials explained how quickly the storm developed. Our Talia Hall was there and tells us residents in low-lying areas were being asked to consider moving to shelters.
The Disaster Risk Management Authority has been fully activated as its team closely tracks Hurricane Oscar. The storm, which rapidly intensified overnight Friday, had only a 20% chance of development but grew stronger quickly by 2 a.m. on Sunday. Acting Director of the Bahamas Department of Meteorology, Jeffrey Simmons, addressed the media Saturday evening during a briefing at the Disaster Risk Management Authority.
At about midnight last night, we went to bed looking at a low-pressure area to the east of the Turks and Caicos Islands. By sunrise this morning, that system had rapidly intensified into a tropical storm, which took on the name of Oscar.
And according to Simmons, once the system passes over Anagua, Oscar is forecast to move into the southwest coast of Cuba.
We see the system now is expected to make a turn toward the northeast and come head back toward the islands of the Bahamas on Monday and Tuesday. So at that time, islands like Ragged Island can be impacted, South Exuma, and then going into Long Island as we move forward on Tuesday morning. You can see islands like Long Island, Acklands, and Crooked Island now experiencing tropical storm force.
Now, residents who are expected to be impacted by this storm are encouraged to take it seriously.
Persons living in low-level, low-lying areas ought to be very alert, and if they are uncomfortable to move to higher ground or to move to the respective shelters.
Meanwhile, with Hurricane Oscar's rapid intensification putting the southeast Bahamas on alert, DRMA Managing Director Aaron Sargent acknowledges the limited time for preparations. However, he assured residents all incident command centers on the affected islands are fully operational and ready to respond.
The administrator, who is the lead for the DRM authority on the ground, and his team of representatives from the local Disaster Risk Management Consultative Committee are present.
Reporting for our news, I'm Talia Hall.
Thanks, Natalia. The New York Supreme Court has awarded over $1.6 billion in damages to Sarkis Ismailian, the original developer of the Bahamar resort. This latest news follows a years-long legal battle against the project's main contractor, China Construction America. A statement from public relations firm Cultivate PR released this weekend said Judge Andrew Barak ruled in favor of Ismailian's, stating CCA had committed fraud and breached its contract with Ismailian's company, BML Properties. Judge Barak reportedly determined that CCA's false promises of meeting a March 2015 opening date were a sham and led to a shakedown of Ismailian. The court also reportedly found that CCA's actions created a liquidity crisis that wiped out BML's $845 million investment into Bahamar, which the court said eventually led to the resort's bankruptcy filing in June 2015. Something the court said was a foreseeable outcome given the circumstances. The explosive statement that has been widely circulated says the size of the verdict now not only demonstrates the massive loss suffered by the Ismailian family, but also highlights the extent of wrongdoing by CCA. It also levied serious accusations against the then government. Ismailians expressed relief at the ruling, which he said emphasized that he acted honorably and in the best interest of the project. This is a developing story we will continue to follow. Meanwhile, Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard says the alleged involvement of Bahamian officials in the original Bahamar development demands an immediate investigation. In a statement Sunday, FNM leader Michael Pintard addressed the ruling in favor of Sarkis Ismailian by the New York Supreme Court. He referenced troubling allegations outlined in a statement issued by Cultivate PR, in which the original developer claimed unscrupulous actions by CCA and being ousted by the Christie administration. The FNM leader said the gravity of the situation demands Prime Minister Philip Davis, who served as deputy leader in the Christie cabinet, act responsibly and ensure an immediate investigation by credible and independent parties. You can find the full statement at Our News Bahamas on Facebook. Well, a tragic accident ended in tragedy today as police investigate the death of a tourist after an ATV overturned on him. This is the second incident this weekend and the third fatality in 2 weeks. Assistant Superintendent of Police Demetria Capron giving this update on the scene.
A green rental Ranger 4x4 ATR vehicle was at the rear of the Arawaki near the port when the driver began to reverse. The vehicle then overturned on its side, causing injury to a front seat passenger who had fell out the side of the vehicle. EMS would have visited the scene where the front seat passenger would have succumbed to his injuries on the scene.
Police say they are following significant leads in this matter. Traffic police also cautioning residents to drive cautiously and to always wear a seatbelt.
Our message remains the same, to please slow down, wear your seatbelts, wear your helmets. One life lost is simply one too many in a fatal car crash.
Meanwhile, one man is dead and another is in hospital after a double shooting on Martin's Close off Cowpen Road late Saturday night. It's the second murder in less than 24 hours. Police say they received reports of gunshots around 8:45 p.m. When officers arrived, they say they found two men with multiple gunshot wounds. Chief Superintendent Tess Newbold, who heads the Carmichael Road Police Station, spoke with reporters at the scene.
One of the males was taken to PMH by a private vehicle, where he is being treated by doctors. The second male, unfortunately, received injuries and succumbed to his injuries here on the scene. Both males appear to be in their 20s.
This latest act of violence adds to the crime surge we've been seeing since the start of October. Saturday's shooting, along with the broad daylight murder of a man in Yellow Elder earlier that morning, has heightened concerns among law enforcement. Assistant Commissioner Roberto Goodman told Our News officers will maintain a strong presence on our streets.
We have a strategic plan in place where we continue to be out there on the streets, and we continue to hit these prolific areas, these prolific offenders who known to have firearms, who known to be distributing drugs, and I also want to send a strong warning to these persons who continue to use firearm in these offenses. Like I said, we have police officers out there on patrol, and then if we see you or we come across you, then we have to take the necessary action and then ensure that our public is safe at the end of the day.
When Our News Weekend comes back from the break 5 years after Monster Storm Dorian, some East Grand Bahama churches still need assistance. And the Transport Minister goes on record tonight as the two ports in Abaco face a second RFP process. The details when Our News Weekend returns.
Bahamas, are you ready? Keep the vibe alive. Music group, along with Alpha Sounds, present the best of the best. Rake and Scrape Explosion Reloaded. This is the biggest one-day all-Bahamian concert of the year. Featuring KB, D-Mac, Abby, Mama D, Fan Sean, Shine 242, The Falcons, and more. Mark your calendars. It's going down November the 2nd at Super Club Races Ground. Tickets now available at BahamasEtickets.com or both Beauty Shack location. General admission $60. VIP, Skybox, and Skypods also available. For more info, call 394-0819 or email keepthevibealive242@gmail.com. Experience the magic once again with more legends for one night only. Come party with us November 2nd at Best of the Best. Rake and Scrape Explosion Reloaded.
5 years after Hurricane Dorian's devastating impact, numerous churches in East Grand Bahama remain in dire need of assistance. That's according to the Zion United Baptist Convention's East Grand Bahama District. In a recent press conference, the convention reported that while some churches have been fully restored, others are still rebuilding but making significant progress. These developments come as the church prepares for its 31st convention. Pastor Freddie Lang Jr. of St. Matthew's Baptist Church in the district is the district superintendent. He highlighted the ongoing challenges.
New Emmanuel Baptist Church, where the pastor is Bishop Edwin Pinder, they are making strides. However, they still have a ways to go. That church, I would say about 75% of the roof was torn off, and they suffered tremendously. So they are making strides, however, they need help. And there are other churches outside of the Zion United Baptist Convention as well who still need some level of help. And then I should mention our church in Freetown, St. Cleveland Baptist Church. They are in need of help as well.
Pastor Lang also announced the 31st session of the Zion United Baptist Convention will be held at St. Matthew's Baptist Church in Pelican Point from Monday, October 21st to Sunday, October 27th. He says the church will celebrate the community's progress as many residents have now returned to their homes following the devastation caused by Dorian.
We have plans to put on to do a disaster relief fund. We want to be able to assist residents whenever disaster should arise. We want to be able to be a positive, tangible impact to our residents from the East and beyond.
Over in Abaco, Transport Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis says the two ports there may have to go through a second round of requests for proposals. Back in 2023, government issued a request for proposal for bids to operate both Marsh Harbor and Cooperstown shipping ports. In January, Colby-Davis told a local daily the RFP process had ended after generating two bids for the Cooperstown port, which she said at the time were under review. Speaking to reporters ahead of this week's parliamentary session, Colby-Davis addressed the issue.
As it relates to further advancement, we may have to go back out to RFP because that project has been held up for some time. And I know the people there were expecting to see some movement. There was a hope that we could transform that port to make it more dry dock storage and other options as opposed to what's happening in Marsh Harbor so that they didn't compete with each other.
Cooperstown residents who held a town hall and signed a petition last May continue to push for the port's opening. Back in 2014, China Harboring Company began construction on the $39 million port just north of the settlement. As for the port in Marsh Harbor,
some of the persons that put forward a bid started to be concerned whether the financial of what they were intending to do in terms of the investment and the returns, whether it would pan out if we had competing ports in such close proximity. And so we may have not communicated that strongly enough. We did have an option to get some security upgrades through a grant program with the U.S. Embassy was working on for us. We're still waiting to get conclusions on that, and that would have been some action that we would have also seen in Marsh Harbor.
When our News Weekend returns, meet the Animal of the Week. We introduce you to Lucky, one of the many pups at the Humane Society in search of a new home.
Jazz Chisholm is headed to the World Series. We're going to get into that next on our Sports Weekend.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Good evening, happy Sunday. I'm Tage Adderley, and we are back with our Sports Weekend. Jazz Chisholm and his New York Yankees are going to the World Series. They won a 10-inning marathon last night.
The Yankees beat the Cleveland Guardians 5-2 last night to wrap up the American League Championship. Jazz went 1-for-3 with the single, and he was hit by a pitch. The Yankees surrendered an early 2-0 lead before series MVP Giancarlo Stanton came through with a monster 2-run home run to even things up. The stalemate carried over into extra innings where Juan Soto mashed a 3-run home run in the 10th to give the Yankees the win. Luke Weaver finished off Cleveland in the bottom of the 10th to get the save on the mound.
Okay, Jazz is in. Now the Mets will play in a couple of minutes. If they can hang on and win their next 2, we'll have an all-Bahamian World Series with Mets coach Anton Richardson and Jazz. We're going to move over to the hardwood. It's official. Kai Jones will begin his season with the Los Angeles Clippers organization.
The Clippers announced yesterday that they converted Kai's contract from an Exhibit 10 to a two-way deal after an impressive preseason where he averaged 8 points on 60% shooting and a bunch of dunks, along with 5 rebounds in only 24 minutes per game. An Exhibit 10 deal is basically a camp deal, but the two-way deal will keep him with the team and their G League affiliate in San Diego when the season starts.
Nakai's been handing out posters with impunity in the preseason. I'm pretty sure he'll be on the roster for the bulk of the season. While we're talking about hoops, Jonquel Jones and the Liberty will face the Minnesota Lynx in a couple of minutes in a decisive Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. Be sure to check out our social media pages for all the results. That's a wrap for sports this evening. For our Sports Weekend, I'm Tage Adderley. Have a great week.
Thanks, Tage. When we come back from the break, Marlena Leonard introduces you to an adorable pot cake who promises to steal your heart. Fingers crossed he's lucky enough to find a new home. When Our News Weekend returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Welcome back to Our News Weekend. There are hundreds of loving animals ready for adoption at the Bahamas Humane Society shelter. In this weekend's edition of the Humane Society's Animal of the Week, our Marlena Leonard introduces us to Lucky, a healthy young pup ready for his new home.
Meet Lucky, a little potcake puppy who stole my heart from the moment he came into my arms.
He's available for adoption right now. He's been here, let's say, about anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. He's probably still a new arrival. He's friendly, he's nice and playful. Other than that, he isn't scared, timid, or anything like that. He is quite fine, very excited, very loving, very charming. Other than that, he doesn't have anything wrong, no sickness, nothing, fully healthy, no diseases, no worms. Only thing is he just needs his 3rd vaccination. And he'll be fully ready for to be able to be adopted out.
Sweet Lucky settled into my lap almost immediately, taking no time to warm up to strangers.
He's about 2 months now. He should be anywhere from at least 80-pound to 100-pound dog around there. He looks like he's going to be very big.
And so what should they do if they're interested in making him a part of their family?
I mean, he can come in and ask for feet one and then a scar. They could come in and fill out a form, and then they could be vetted, and then they'll give them a call back, and then anything else further they'll let them know. But other than that, they could just come in, and we have a bunch of more puppies his age and a little bit younger, quite ready for adoption.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Thanks, Marlena, and thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend tonight on behalf of the entire team. I'm Berthany McDermott. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Make it a great week, everyone.
Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.